This is how to make every jump shot part 2. If you are trying to become a jump shooting god, then this is the video for you. Pristine Jerseys is having a Christmas sale. The link is in the description. You can get the new city jerseys they just dropped or some shorts from 2K. Link in description. Like I said, this is part 2. After you watch this, go watch part 1. It doesn't really matter which order you watch them in. Just make sure you watch part 1 so you can fulfill your destiny to become a godly shooter on 2K23. All these tips are going to make you a way better shooter. I can guarantee you that. It doesn't matter what your build is or your 3-point rating or whatever. You will become a better shooter. That is a promise. I have a list in front of me with all of my tips. We're going to go over each one and break each one of them down. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so first things first, and I cannot preach this enough. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to find a good shot, okay? Then you're gonna stick to it and not change it for weeks. I have been using the same shot now for like 7 weeks. Now I have mastered this shot. I could shoot this with my eyes closed in any situation possible that there could possibly be. The main reason why some of you can't shoot or you're shooting super inconsistent is because you're changing your jump shot all the time, bro. If you're changing your jump shot, that means you're changing the release speed, the timing over and over again. And even though the builder, the jump shot creator, whatever it's called, says that the timing or the release speed or whatever it's called on 2 separate shots is the same, it's not, bro. Each jump shot has its own speed and green window and release point. So you switching up your shots over and over again, you have to learn a new shot every time you switch it. Your brain can't handle that, bro. Stick to a good shot. Stick to one. I legit just dropped my personal jump shot. That was my last video. The link will be in the description. So go watch that, put on that shot, and don't change it for months. Don't change it. It's a good shot. I promise. This is what I use. This is what I've been using for like 8 weeks. Put on that shot and don't change it. Stop changing your shots, people. The next thing we're gonna talk about to make you into a better jump shooter is shooting on your opposite hand. What do I mean by that? If you're right-handed, I'm gonna want you to do your moves to the left, okay? And if you're left-handed, I want you to do a majority of your moves to the right. Now, this does not mean do every move to the opposite side. I'm just telling you it makes it easier. And it's easier with your quick stopping, which was in part 1 of this video. And they did a test that if you're right-handed and your defender is on the right, it's a lower contest compared to if they were on the left. I don't know why, that's just how the game is. So if you're left-handed and your defender is on the left, it is a lower contest than rather your defender being on the right. The next thing I'm gonna teach you or tell you what to do is you need to learn how to fade on your builds. Not just to make it one of your main ways of scoring like me, just to have it in certain situations in case. Would I recommend being a fade master and adding it to your scoring arsenal, excuse me? Absolutely. I would not be as good of a player as I am if I could not fade consistently whenever I wanted. For example, whether it's me or my friend in the corner, this happens to us all the time. Let's say I'm in the corner and the shot clock is about to expire. My teammate throws me the ball and I'm not open. The defender is there. I will literally just sprint out of the corner and fade. It works 90% of the time. Why does it work? Because I know how to fade really, really good. In just weird situations, even with my friend earlier, I was playing with him. He's a center. He can't even speed boost. I would throw him the ball at the end of the shot clock if I couldn't get open, and he can shoot a fading midi because nobody like expects it, bro. Fades are really good as bailouts when you really need a bucket and time is running out. But if you can learn to fade, bro, you will be such a better player overall. It makes offense so much easier because now when my defender is guarding me, they know I can fade. They have to play me up way higher and it's way easier for me to run to the rim. Because as you guys know, rim running is super OP, and if you're able to just speed boost, sprint, and fade, it makes you so much harder to guard, bro. So instead of dudes playing you back, guarding the rim run, they have to play you up since they know you can fade consistently and it's unguardable. Learn to fade, master it, I have a whole video on that as well for the best fades in this game. Let's get into the next tip, which is on your controller settings, make sure you are only shooting on early or late. Could you do very late? Yeah, I just don't think there's really any point. So if you're already a good shooter on very late, you can keep that. But I really recommend early or late. Do not do very early or very quick or whatever it's called. I made the mistake and was actually doing that at the start of the year and was okay, I wasn't a bad shooter, but I was definitely not as good of a shooter I am now. So make sure you are not using very early release timing, whatever it's called, in the controller settings, and only use early or late, please. I personally use late. I just feel like it's easier to shoot off of it. The next tip we are going to do is one that I actually forget to do all the time, and it causes me to miss, and you guys are all gonna know what I am talking about. It is using catch and shoot. So I don't mean using catch and shoot, I mean getting a catch and shoot and hitting the shoot button or holding it down before the ball goes in your hand. Do not do this. You'll be an inconsistent shooter off the catch and shoot. You'll get gathers sometimes, which will then screw you up, and your shot timing will be completely off. Like, just don't do this. Don't hit extra square, don't hit the shoot button until the ball is visually in your hands. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about, I briefly talked about it in part 1, but I really didn't talk about it enough, and that is your release cue. You want to shoot with your eyes. What do I mean by that? We go off of muscle memory. Well, I used to until this 2K. And the reason why I don't go off of muscle memory anymore for my shot timing is because of the stamina. And I explained in part 1 to where there's different types of stamina, which affects your shot timing for each part of your stamina, blah, 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 etc. So I only look at my hands and look for the release cue. What do I mean by the release cue? Where your hands release the ball when it's a green. So I know on like a fade, for example, when I'm fading on the right side, I know that as soon as I flick the ball over my head, like half over my head going forward, that's when I release the ball, and that's where I shoot greens from. So shoot with your eyes, practice that, and find your release cue on your jump shot. Do not go off of muscle memory. Shoot with your eyes. And why is this so important? It's just so much more consistent. Like, there's latency, there's lag, there's delays sometimes. Like, it's just so consistent, and you don't have to rely on like the game. You can just rely on yourself. So I know if I miss, it is 100,000,000% only my fault, because I mistimed my jump shot and it wasn't the game's fault. When you're looking at your release cue, you know when to release it, and if you make it or miss it, it is all up to you. Before I get into the last 2 tips, if you have not checked out my content, I don't know what you're doing. I post a ton of stuff that will make you better at the game, and I got some entertaining stuff here and there as well. Go subscribe, you will not regret it. I can promise you that, okay? So this next one is quick, and it might be a little controversial, I don't know, but turn off your meter, bro. All the best players in the world do not use their shot meter. It's actually harder to shoot with the meter, in my opinion, and a lot of other good players' opinions. And that's because you're like relying to look at that quick meter. Like, it's too much, bro. Like, it's way easier just to look at your hands and look at your release cue, and you get a slight boost. I think it's like a 4% boost this year to your make percentage if your meter is off. Turn it off, bro. It's hurting you more than it's helping you, I promise. The last and final thing that will help you become a better shooter, and this really isn't related to actually shooting and timing or anything, it's just game mechanics to help you become a better shooter, and that is becoming a better dribbler and learning how to get open. I know you guys are saying, Dirk, that has nothing to do with shooting. It actually has a ton to do with shooting. Let me explain. So if you shoot only wide open shots, right? Let's say you aren't even good at the game. You could probably make half of them at least, right? Let's say you're really bad at the game and they're only wide open shots. You're gonna make at least half. Okay, let's make that assumption. If you are able to get open and only shoot wide open shots, you're gonna make them, especially if you know how to shoot and you used all these other tips in part 1 and 2 of this video. Like, most of my shots, bro, are wide open shots because I know how to get open. Like, I know what to do. So go watch dribble tutorials. You can watch mine if you want. Practice, get better, learn how to get open. So most of your shots are wide open, or super low contested shots, and you'll make way more shots, bro. Sometimes you guys can shoot, like, you know how there's people who say, I can shoot wide open. Yeah, a lot of people can. So why don't you learn how to get wide open? You know what I'm saying? You do all these tips, bro, you will become a godly shooter. Again, if you haven't watched part 1, go watch that right now. And if you haven't put on my jump shot, go put on that as well. They're both on screen. Have a good day. Go out.